All right, what's going on, y'all? Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence look like it's really gonna happen. A fight that I didn't think it was gonna really happen. I remember when Mikey started calling out welterweights. He said he wanted to fight Thurman, and then he started saying he wanted to fight Spence. And I didn't really think much of it. In my mind, I was just like, I can't see that happening. Yeah, I can't see Spence fighting him, and I can't see Team Mikey Garcia really letting this guy go up 2 weight classes to fight Errol Spence. This is not like Manny Pacquiao going up to fight Oscar De La Hoya. It's not the same thing. It's just not. Or fighting Cotto at a catchweight, or fighting a washed up Shea Mosley. That's far past his prime. This is not that same kind of fight. This is not Manny Pacquiao fighting Ricky Hatton. Too smaller. This is not that. It's not that. It's more like, to me, it's more like Kell Brook going up to fight Triple G. 2 very good fighters. It's just that, there's weight classes for a reason. I am not even trying to underestimate Mikey Garcia. Big supporter of his. All right? I've been a big supporter of his since I had this channel. I understand his talent. Like, I've seen it plenty of times. But Errol Spence is not just big. He's a very, very good fighter. All right? A very athletic fighter. A high volume thrower. Like a power puncher. He's a boxer puncher. With size at 147. There's no one that's on Mikey Garcia's resume that stacks up to Errol Spence already. And Mikey Garcia from 126 to 130 to 135, 140, he has some good bodies under his resume. He does. But Errol Spence brings something totally different. I'm not a fan of this fight. I'm not a fan because it's so much. I don't like the fight because I think it's a mismatch. But I also don't like the reasoning behind the fight. Because I listen to Mikey Garcia and he feels like he has to prove himself. He has to really, really challenge himself, right? So, okay, cool. I get that. But there are challenges there that you didn't take. Lomachenko holds a title at the division that you hold 2 titles at. He's about to unify with Pedraza. So, what exactly, what's wrong with that fight? I heard him say things like, people think Lomachenko's too small. They see in the interview that we had, and people think that he's too small for you. All right, well, I can tell you that there's a lot of people that think Lomachenko can beat you. I'm sure the majority would think that he would beat you. Okay? And then at 140, it's like you beat Sergey Limpinets and Adrian Broner. Neither one of them are the best at 140. We currently have a tournament going on at 140 to see who's the best since Terrence Crawford moved up. Another guy that you are not interested in fighting. So, I just don't understand the logic behind this fight. You want to challenge yourself, and yes, fighting Spence at 147 is dangerous. It's more dangerous. It is a tougher challenge. But losing to Spence and losing to Lomachenko are 2 different types of losses. People are going to respect you for going up in weight and losing to Errol Spence because he's going to lose this fight. He's going to lose this fight. But people will respect you in the effort. But Lomachenko is a guy that isn't small, isn't bigger than you, and I think you would get a lot of respect if you were to beat Lomachenko. Like, if you feel like that's not a real challenge for you, that's crazy because people will respect you if you were to beat him. That's a great name to have on your resume. You know? Like I said, I think this is more like Kell Brook going up to fight Triple G. I think this is more like Ringenau going up to fight Lomachenko. You know? I know people were hyping that shit up, but they had it because they were hyping it due to agendas. Anybody that had any sense knew that Ringenau was not winning that fight. You know? If they just put their personal feelings out of it, Rigo had no chance of winning that fight. He had no chance. So that's the way I look at this fight. You know, I think Mikey is very good. He's very good. But he may not even be more talented than Spence. That's a debate. And that's the only debate. Who's more talented? But whoever you think is better, it's probably by like this much. But the difference is now you have a guy that's much bigger than him. You know? And he's a high volume puncher. It doesn't do anything for Spence. I think he wins this fight. It means nothing to me. You know, I know he can't get a fight with Sean and Keith, and I understand that. I think the Crawford fight could be made, but you know how that's going. You know, he doesn't seem to have much interest in it because of the whole, you know, I guess we're going back to hiding behind promoters and networks. I guess that's where we're going to go back to doing because, you know, we're going to blame A-side, resumes, and all that shit. I just don't get it, you know? I mean, besides the fact that they both been fighting on Showtime and everything, I just don't see how this fight makes sense. You know? Is there really a demand for this fight like that? Is there really? You know? I mean, the talks of it have been brewing for a while, but most people don't even think that this fight was really going to happen. A lot of people thought Mikey was losing his mind. I mean, it's great for Mikey if he is to win. If he is to pull it off, that'll be a great win. It would be a bigger win than the Lomachenko fight. It would. Because of the fact that he had to go up in 2 weights. So he is challenging himself, without a doubt. But you still have plenty of much to prove. You know, at the weight classes that you're currently fighting at. You know? But if this is the step he wants to take, fine. I just don't see it from Errol's standpoint. It's like, I guess they're looking at it like Mikey has a name. You know, I mean, okay. Like, he has a name, but you going to beat up a 135-pounder? You know, I look at Mikey, right? And I'm looking at, like I look at the Lipinets fight, which was a very competitive fight. Mikey, I mean, clearly won the fight. Lipinets is a little bigger. But Lipinets is now on a level of Errol Spence. You know, he's not even close to that level. And that fight was a tough fight for Mikey. You know? Meanwhile, Errol's over here dominating Lamont Peterson. Destroyed him. Toyed with him. He made it look so easy. Effortless. Without any effort, he destroyed Lamont Peterson like he was nothing. You know? I think Errol Spence, including the Mikey Garcia fight, Errol Spence beating Kell Brook, going into his backyard, fighting another larger welterweight that has good boxing ability. I think that was a bigger fight for Errol. This is not a bigger fight for Errol. You know, this is a step down to me because of Mikey's size. Because of Mikey's size. I just think he's a better talent. I think right now, Errol's a better talent. And he's also the bigger fighter. You know? But that's just me. I'm not a fan of the fight. I'm going to just keep saying, Fight Terrence Crawford if these guys don't want to fight you. Sean Porter and Keith Thurman is talking about having a rematch right now. That just goes to show, and I'm going to end this video with that. That just goes to show, and I always say this, but people want to still come in the comments and talk about mandatories and injuries and tune-ups and shit like that. That's a cop-out. I have to keep bringing up, and I'm going to keep comparing you UFC because a lot of boxing fans stop watching boxing because of the bullshit. A lot of them are UFC fans specifically for reasons like this. I need 2 tune-ups to fight Errol Spence, at least. This is what he's saying. Now he's in heavy negotiations with Sean Porter rematch straight out the gate. No tune-ups. All right, well, I see how it is. You know, these guys feel like they're backed into a corner. You know what? Let's fight each other. I said that in a recent video. These guys could probably be on the phone like, you know what? We might as well fight each other before fighting this dude. You know? They all do it. Keith Thurman is doing it. And Errol Spence is doing it with Terrence Crawford. He's doing it with Terrence Crawford. I'll fight him later. I'm fighting him on my network under my terms. What? Dude, you just won one title. What are you doing? What are you talking about? You only hold one title. Now, I get you want to fight the guys on your network first. Cool. But if they don't want to fight you and they're ducking you and they're going to still duck you because you know what's going to happen, right? We're never going to see the Terrence Crawford fight. We'll see Errol Spence, and remind you, it's almost going in 2019. I guarantee you we'll see Errol Spence move up to 154 before he fights Terrence Crawford. I guarantee that. Guarantee it. It won't happen. But what I will say is that I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, I just feel like, I don't know, I'm just going to keep addressing this bullshit. This mandatory, this injury. People are hiding behind mandatories, the WBC and their rules. People, or you know, the sanctioning bodies and their rules. People are going to keep hiding behind stuff like that and keep using that as an excuse to get out of fights. You know, you do an interview, right? And 90% of the time they ask you about one fighter. That means they're asking you because there's a demand for that fighter. I was listening to the video with 70 Sports and Black Fight Fan, right? I was listening to an interview with Errol Spence, right? People came, was like, yo, did you hear 78 Sports? Errol Spence, you know, went on there. 78 Sports asked the question as clearly as possible. You are a PBC fighter. These guys don't want to fight you. Why not fight Terrence Crawford? You know what he says? Well, I don't even think Terrence Crawford really want to fight me like that. What? Based on what? Based on what? Do you want to fight him or not? Because it sounds like you don't want to fight him. You know? It's just like, yo, I don't know what's up with these welterweights, man. Because once they get in position, once they get a little power, they get to a point where they just, everything that they said previous to the belt, holding the title, goes straight out the window. You know, because there's always going to be someone that's hunting for you. There's always going to be a fighter that's gunning for you. So once you're like in a position where you're a little comfortable, you know, dudes, I'm not even stressing him being drunk and drinking and all that. All that stuff is irrelevant to me. Dude is young. He wants to have fun. He wants to, you know, go out, have drinks. That's on him. As long as it's not affecting him in training camp. You know, as long as he's not getting really overweight, that's cool. I don't have a problem with Errol Spence having some drinks and stuff like that. I don't have a problem with that. But what I do have a problem with is you want to be undisputed. I remember used to say that all the time. There's a guy out there that is more willing to fight you over the other two champions. So why not fight him? I understand politics. I understand the politics. I do. I really do. But you sounded like you were beyond the politics. Just like Keith Thurman did for me at one point. Keith Thurman, very intelligent guy, seemed like a boxing historian, seemed like he had a plan. And his plan was to take over the division. He was hunting everyone down. But then when he got the champions, his whole tune changed. And for me, Errol's pretty much doing the same thing. I can't say the same for Terrence Crawford. Because Terrence Crawford is a guy that he comes off of as a guy that still has to prove himself. He still really feels that way. And unfortunately for him, he's on a side where there's not many top welterweights. You know, I mean, I don't know what else to say. But I'm not a fan of the Mikey Garcia. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of it. I'm going to watch it. But I personally think Mikey's going to get slaughtered. I'm just hoping it's not bad to a point where it's going to change him mentally going into for the rest of his career. Because a lot of fighters just they're never the same after that beatdown. They're just never the same. Look at Miguel Cotto. Miguel Cotto, even though he's had success in his career after Margarita loss, just look at him. I don't think he's one of my top 5 favorite fighters of all time. I don't think Miguel Cotto was ever the same fighter again after that loss. Even when he looked good, still. Never the same. Never the same. All right, I'm out, guys.